Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Concrete with the Hosses. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as we get to the job site, it starts raining. So we're back here at this big giant house. If you remember the basement, it's one of the biggest basements we've ever done. It's time to do the garages. A couple things we had to clear out: an expansion post, some blue board, a couple pieces of lumber, but all in all, we're actually pretty close to our grade height. My dad's working on getting this machine moved. And then we have this garage over here that also wondering how we're getting to that garage. But we're gonna go ahead and get everything set up, get walls marked, door heights figured out, get this day going. So we had our lasers set up. We got 8 foot down from the top of the door there, so that'll be our 8-foot garage door, and then up 1.5 inches is our floor height. Had the laser set up, but it's pretty windy in here, so we got a couple marks so that Stan and Jim could get our lunch truck. Matt's working on getting our garage doorways openings padded out so we can get our sills on and the frost wall boards on. And as you just saw, my dad is working on getting stone in here so we can get graded and get it tamped.
Using the 2A modified in here, it really locks in tight. And we're only putting about 2 inches to 4 inches in the corners, so there's not a lot of it to compact. Now when we set our chairs and wire, everything stays up real nice. Trying this Bobcat out. I think we'll stay with the Caterpillar. I know we'll stay with the Caterpillar. Okay, it's a little bit quieter now. Final grade right there. We've got some more in. We'll rake this out. That's all tamped. Everything's nice and tight now. Up to grade. We like to pour these about 4 inches to 5 inches. A little bit on the heavier side. You saw it's all filled in. You can see out there the original height. So we know there's a lot of fill in here, and hopefully it was compacted when it was put in. It felt pretty good, but we tamped what we brought in, and we'll also put a nice rebar grid in here too. Matt's working on sills. Keep pushing forward.
So on these elevated garages that we do on steel decking, we per code we have to have a 1 foot by 1 foot rebar grid. So those orange dots are our 1 foot marks running this way, and then for running towards the garage door we just go every other pan, and that's our 1 foot. So now we're just going through and tying them. They don't have the drain in yet, so we left out a 3 foot square so that they can get the drain in and then get their waterproofing in. And then we'll have to get the rebar underneath there, and then we need a few more for up front. So we're getting them all tied up.
Simple as that.
Dad's got the easy one. Wow. So while we were waiting for my dad to get back with rebar, I went ahead and laid out our cuts running across the garage. When we do things like this, with it being an elevated garage on steel decking, there's beams that span the distance, and we need a cut on top of each beam because that's where it always wants to crack. So there's my mark right there if you can see it. I went ahead and laid out all my cuts going across the beams. There's 3 of them running across this way. Now I can't lay out the cuts that run back and forth this way until we have the drain in, because we'll run a cut center on the drain going back towards the back and then out of the front of the garage, and then I'll put a cut on each side. So, it adds protection, plus it makes it look a little bit more uniform. And then over here, the base is very, very solid. So we have our rebar grid in. It doesn't need to be nearly as tight as an elevated garage, but, it's still a good amount of rebar, plus we're pouring it 6 to 7 inches thick. The sub base was tamped. This is a goofy kind of layout. It's a nice garage setup, but cut-wise, it's a little bit goofy. There's all of these like corners that we have to deal with, and it always wants to crack off a corner. So we're going to have a cut running from the corner here that way. We'll have lined up with the drain here running into this wall, and then a cut following the drains there. 2 foot in from this garage over here. Now it's 2 foot from that side because we have a couple little bump outs, so I think it's like 1'4" in from this way, so that'll be that cut going that way. Then we'll have a cut going from this corner to this corner, and then center of this door coming into the drain, and then from that point of the drain into this wall, and then center of this door running across into this bump out here. So a lot of cuts going on in here, but gives us a lot of protection.
Hey, good morning everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. It is the Monday before Thanksgiving, so a couple more projects to go this week, and it's off for the holidays. So for today, we're working at this little house. We're going to pour 5 garages over there. So we have MDC pumping. It's a little dark yet. They're going to pump it for us. It's real muddy here, and one of the garages is kind of hard to get to. So let me go in and show you what we're doing. So last little bit of tying. That's nice working with the decking, huh? It loops right in there. So nice rebar grid. This is a elevated slab. So we put our rebar in at 12-inch centers. And this is why we're pumping it. There's, you know, can't get a mixer up here, right? So we have those garages over there. Oh, 6. And then 2 here. Okay, mixer's here. They're putting the primer in the pump. He brings 2 small bags of Portland with him, and we just mix up a slurry and pump that through the line first. And that coats everything with just a cement slurry so the concrete can flow through it easier and get plugged up. But usually at the fittings, you get too much aggregate with no paste and it'll plug up there. Then you got to break it apart and unclog it. So hopefully when you pump the slurry through, you can start pumping without any clogs. You can see we have quite a bit of line snaking through here all the way into the pour area. We hang some plastic just to help with the wind, you know, coming through the big door, through these other smaller doors. Rebars up on chairs, ready to go. Got our lines all chalked. Everything's 100% ready to go. And then once we get done pumping in there, we'll go ahead and break this connection, flip some line over, reattach, and pump this elevated floor. We'll get the big one out of the way first, and then hit this little one. That way if we have to drop a couple guys off to start finishing, we don't need as much manpower in there. We'll go ahead and get the camera set up. Sounds like we're about ready to get started. One thing I think's mentioning is with this line coming through here, we don't want to set grade pins because guaranteed we're going to hit them. So we hook on our beam and pull a number down. We know our wall height right there. So right above it, we can hook on a beam, pull a number down, and Jim will write it right on the wall here, 163.5. So when we're pouring, we'll just have a tape measure, we'll hook on the beam, pull down, and we set that a 1/2 inch lower than the wall, which will be 1 inch higher than the floor drain. Same thing over here on that beam. Those beams are centered on the floor drains. I'm sorry, centered between the floor drains. So that's a nice easy way to set our height as we go without setting grade pins. So he hooks on there, pulls down on the corner, and then he'll write that on the wall right there. Okay, that was one truck. We got the sill poured, got a nice big pile here. We were just looking, we think we're coming up short with 18 yards. We have another 9 heading this way for that other garage, but we still think we're coming up a little bit short. So we'll get this next truck on the ground and see where we're at before I get more concrete heading this way. Okay, finishing up the second truck. Just everything gets pulled back here, and then we're gonna flip to the little garage. And we just lose a handle, he'll work his way right back, dropping handles. This is the hard part, getting this little bit hot. We've had worse.
Yeah.
And then just down to one handle, and he'll probably just have to hand float this as he works out. So you just pulled the little straight edge back into the corner. It's called painting yourself into a corner. Concreting yourself into a corner.
Oh, it's fun.
But he's got this ledge to stand on and then up here, so. Want him here float and just give it a little boot shake?
Got a rake.
Yeah, got one right here. How's that for a guesstimate, huh?
Perfect.
Okay. Big floor's done. We got over here. We're about a quarter of the way poured. Question is, will we have enough concrete? Kind of thick at the wall. 3.5 in the middle. I think we'll make it. I hope. All right, we'll get this set up on time lapse and see you in the end. Okay, just finishing the last little bit right in here. I like the straight edge to point to the drain to the corner and get a nice even plane going there. And this is where the adjustable knuckle on the bull float really comes in handy. You can level it out as you pull it back. Take the edge of the bull float to the edge of the drain. You don't want to take the center of the bull float to the drain, because then you're hurting your swale. You know, picture it as a funnel. Like that. Just ride that line right down and then split away. Just give that a shake and a pat. Good to go. All right, garage 2 all done. So 3 of us are on the floor. First truck's real nice. Second truck's a little bit wet. They're pulling the sills over there. And they pulled this one off and rubbed it up. It looks real good. We'll just let that tighten up before we broom it and edge it. So now we can just trowel right across the top and flatten that surface out. It's a little bit soft here, Matt. Yeah, do you need on for that sill? Yeah, go ahead. All right, so Steve's gonna hit that corner and work this way. We have it on time lapse, but I figured I'd talk a little bit. I'm gonna head back and target that drain and get that cleaned up. Nice slow, flat trowel when the concrete's wet. Another thing I could point out when you're out here troweling, it's not just a straight path. You go from side to side so you can widen your wingspan up. You know, and you catch double the floor while you're moving the same distance. So these floor drains are much easier when the concrete's a little on the soft side rather than the tight side. So hit those sooner than later. They're pulling that sill off. So once you get it all troweled around it, just come back and re-roll it. And leave it sit like that until it's ready to finish. Steve and I are working on this last sill over here in the big garage. This is number 2 truck. A little bit soft yet, but pretty good.
I just like to roll all these.
Alright. Our inner sill edger has a 1-inch radius. That just helps the car tire roll over a little bit. And our outer one has a 1/2-inch radius. That way the expansion joint fits a little tighter, not a big of a gap, less dirt to hold.
So sometimes with these corners they can be a real B word. You just gotta find a way to hang out over it and get it done. Hit cramp again.
Luckily, there's going to be steps going there, so it doesn't have to be perfect like the rest of the garage. We'll still try to clean it up.
Okay, number 1 garage is first pass, just about all done. Second one, we're on that cold steel decking, so all the water has to come up. It's just a little bit slower setting. Moving right along, but we're just going to have a little bit of wait time on this one. Okay, the guys are putting the first pass on this floor. We'll go ahead and keep going on time lapse and shoot you that.
First pass on this garage is almost done. We left a little section for Jim to try out on, just because you don't want to hit the same spot multiple times on first pass. It just makes it kind of lay there a little bit longer. It doesn't finish as nice as, you know, the stuff you only hit once. So he's just going to come straight back to the door. We'll give this probably 10 or 15 minutes, buzz over it, and do final pass.
The concrete is a little soft, but troweling real nice. The first pass went good. The second pass goes even easier when everything is just right. Just a one float where your knee boards are. And that's what we're looking for right there. Okay, Matt just has a little section right here to finish up. And this floor is all done. Before I sign off, we'll come back tomorrow and do a center cut, as well as some cuts acrosswise. And we'll divide that up off of those corners, off of the drains. We'll put a nice grid in there. As always, thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. Hope you enjoyed the video on pouring the garage floors. We'll come back tomorrow and finish the saw cutting. A couple guys are heading over to start another garage floor for a viewer. So it's an addition he's working on, and we're going to go ahead and help him out with that. So I hope you enjoy that. Come on back and see us.